current moment is more important than the overall concept in the long run, because I'm going to be able to show the amount of interruptions and techniques and cost governments like every second. And the American government spends about $11 million a second, to hide evolution because of military interests, like any country would. But at this point, the whole world knows, so it's kind of detrimental to the American taxpayer, which I can't wait to advocate for. Okay, so back to where I was going. So having to be interrupted and then get sidetracked to explain that thought. So once we, figured out the cathode tube and how to distort and bend the arcs and create images, led to TVs. So and TVs are made up of red, green, and blue pixels. And nowadays we know it as resolution, and each pixel would be, say, one of the three colors, and or one of the three primary colors, which could make every color in the spectrum. So using this, right? So ancient psychics would have been so in tune that their energy tapped into their human psyche, which psychology is all based on. Same with paranormal, psychic aspects as well, right? Because the third eye is the psyche, which is psychology, but it also makes us more in tune to the energies in our environment, which we call Earth, and all around us. So with man-made technologies, with satellites interrupting, and there's many positives, right? Being able to correspond, but with those two trees that I showed you earlier in this video, just realized I went over 50 minutes, but I think YouTube allows it. So the fact that with the pixels going through with the rubies, the emeralds, and the sapphires through the cathode anode tube, the two filaments and the light being able to distort it with polarity or magnetism. So magnetism induction would be what it is, and that creates TVs. But being able to change our brain, the fluid in our brain, or electrolytes, particularly in citrus foods, because they're made of electrolytes. So lemon, like you heard of a carb, lemons, they're no good, right? But lemons are fantastic for your body. So anything that's fantastic can be sold so negatively in the system. It's crazy, because you want lemons because it's so good for your heart. Like lemon water is so good for your heart, but eating lemons in the system, you could get dialed in, so you could become a marker or target so much easier just for eating something that's really good for you, which is insane. For governments, like I said, the American government and other governments, Canadian government, spending millions of dollars or thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars per second, to stop. For me, like I love lemon because my body must react to it. Like avocados, there's certain things that my body just like, wow, thanks, right? Like it just loves it, right? But so lemon, if I eat, it's lemonade if I have it, where it's lemonade if you were to have it. It's just lemonade. It's a drink you would, but with me, they're able to manipulate the electrolytes in the lemon, and so it makes a lemon-made mark system target. So right around, if you look, it could sell pylon scams, more or less. And I am supposed to meet my daughter actually really soon. But anyways, this is a good video, so I'm going to keep going for a moment. So, you know, with these psychics being able to like look into an object like an orb and be able to reflect and reflect light, be so in tune with their psyche, and eventually, I believe that they would have had the minerals, and they would have been able to kind of make some sort of distortion and see their thoughts. Like in some ways, from what I've learned on like I think it's sea gazing or something like that, and it would be one way to look at it. Scrying is another one. But with the different elements being able to distort and intuitively, introspectively look inwardly, and to there goes the most inopportune swallowing, anyways. So to be able to prove every interjection, because this is a long video, and how could I articulate myself and be able to sell legislation that shouldn't really be worth any value. But more or less being able, like with the orbs, being able to look through with the ruby, emerald, and sapphires, like they may have seen some colors and images, and being so in tune, like myself, to be able to decipher the system and feel it. It's because I have this evolutionary gene, and but they stacked a whole bunch of these psychics, like HPP. Her name's Helena. She's a relative of mine, and she's a psychic that's famous from a year ago. Like she looks like my sister, but then another angle, she looks like my nephew. So based on that, like, they have stacked it. So to be aware that my life was getting crushed and figuring it all energies that are going around me, and it's funny because the expression vibe, you got to vibe with the right tribe, right? So people are on that wavelength. So I'm trying to get the people that are on the right wavelength. The 23 crowd, rather than the 0.98 crowd, and I'm going to be having 76.02% of the world's wealth because what people are going to find out is every single day I'm trying to stop the flow of human blood, and there's about 100,000 people that die every day with cures that could, you know, for every disease. But with burning the rainforest, is the actual ingredients that is necessary for Generation One people to be able to get cured, like so. And knowing that there's weather machines and this crazy organization that is they all work together at times, but then work against each other. So it's resulting in the destruction of the planet. Like burning the rainforest isn't advantageous for me because I already have the biological immunities. But for Generation One people that are detrimental to the human race, they're trying to sell that. Hey, I'm special because if you look at my picture, I would have blushed at that particular moment. But that, like I said, with a cathode and anode connection, I'm going to be able to show on a TV screen who that individual was because I'm going to find out where their IP address was or the GPS location and go from there. Well, and B, it was more important to explain that interruption at that particular point. So every single time I pause and I'm going to even be able to show you that there's ear sounds because I'm documenting it right now. So on the TV screen, I'm going to watch these videos and court of public opinion anyways because I'm going to be king and I want to show people things that I could do. And right now it makes all these people that view my brainwaves by this technology so jealous on my individual abilities, but it was a collective effort for 583 years to stack as many great people through me as possible. Like even though I'm blonde, blue-eyed, I'm I have strong ethnic ties to Africa, India, China, Japan, Europe, South America. I'm connected everywhere. I'm the most connected person on earth, but I don't look like it. It's I'm hidden in plain sight. Like the people that kind of crafted me, and people are going to find out that people have been bred for the last 583 years anyways, and so people have been bred to look like certain things. But as soon as we started creating dogs to look like that, eventually these rich people decided to start creating people to look like dogs. That's the whole reason why there's a dog that looks like everybody, because people mastered making dogs and they're like, oh, let's do this with our subjects, right? So to be related to these people, but also to stop this going forward once I'm king. So now it's a great time to mention how, due to Charlotte Mecklenburg-Strelitz, she had a kid with Captain James Cook, and that kid was King George. So Queen Victoria, like I'm related to all these people. I have the strongest connection to these people. And in North Carolina, the Mecklenburg County, and there happens to be a Myers High School, and also Charlotte Mecklenburg's high school, I believe, is that last name that wasn't the Strelitz. I was just trying to recollect in that short instance. Anyways, this has pretty much been one non-interrupted video, except for any interruption that I had to pause and then regain my train of thought. So the fact that I know that Charlotte Mecklenburg Strelitz had a kid with Captain James Cook, and I have the strongest connection. I'm related the most to them, and that's how the pedigree for any royalhood works. Because there's an international penalty box, and once I inherit this position, like my income's basically $1 trillion a day. So that's why 100,000 people a day are dying, because my value is so much that they rip me off, and I'm trying to stop the flow of blood, and they're trying to keep $1 trillion away, for themselves and away from me. So I'm trying to get publicly acknowledged, and then give publicly every cure to every disease, like and have scientists compete for Nobel prizes and everything like that. So burning down the trees in the Amazon isn't really conducive to that fact. So I guess this is a pretty long video, and I'm not sure how much memory I have, and so the fact that people were so in tune, and nowadays we need technology to simulate it, and the positives, the application was back in the day when we had crystal balls. They just figured it out all of a sudden, right? And then over the generations and eons since plainly the elder 2,000 years ago, uh, you know, was we developed the theoretical knowledge right there, and the fact that I smoked that cannabis, who could go on about everything that I'm saying, and even that look right there, it's to kind of alter my appearance for some reason because looking like right here I look better this way, right? So why would I, right? And so to be able to know that every single time I did that, that was somebody that was agreeing with my words, but they didn't want me to look good. So anyways, and it would seem like such a pointless, trivial thing to say, but it's how I'm judged and suppressed. Once again, for $1 trillion a day, based on money. Like, so you're gonna find out that there's a lot of greed that's causing 100,000 people to die a day over a cost of everybody wants to use me as a crystal ball, but they want to keep me impoverished and poor, right? And and it's not advantageous for me to share because the regular population doesn't benefit. It's just this group where you have zero chance of winning the lottery unless you're a generational pedophile. So for me to stop these people, be the one person in the course of human existence that is able to make a definitive stand at all costs, because everybody needs me. Everybody needs my body in a voluntary state, right? So my goal is to protect the entire human race because free will right now is stolen. Most people don't know like that the government can tune into your thoughts, due to this invisible frequency and with the 5th-generation technology, how emotions are, well, right now I'm articulating. So articulation of my part of my brain is going to light up like any of those pickle videos that I see that I've shown, where you see the alligator clip on both ends, right? So that's basically say a transmission, and then is received on another point, like input output, right? So the fact that it shines off my molar and then highlights my brain and then goes up to a satellite, and technology is crazy. Satellites that could even look through the brick and the mortar, and it's incredible. But it's more or less like the pickle. So when I articulate, so right now in my brain, like there's a scientist that's looking at it, and they're trying to determine which regions, and helps people understand the neurology, and help me introspectively I'm becoming a brain doctor because I'm learning the structures in my brain, and which is awesome. And I can't wait to share this gift with mankind when it's conducive to do so. But at the same time, when you're trying to supplant the British royals, the Saudi royals, and then all of a sudden you get this blonde, blue-eyed guy saying, "Okay, I'm now the emperor of Japan because I have the strongest genetic link." And even though this is the case, and they know that the emperor would, the general Japanese public wouldn't, right? Just based on my appearance. But to understand that, I'm going to be taking a macro role, and there's going to be in every country, the microscopic rule would be, in say the president of the United States, like, or the leader of Japan, Mr. Shinzo Abe, he would be the number two, right? So he would correspond with me to be able to basically